Welcome to Pinball Mayhem. My name is Jeremy, and we're going to be doing some more work on Las Vegas. Going to be doing a convenience repair today. It's going to be relocating the power switch. Right now the power switch is in the very back center of the machine, which is bad if you got it up against a wall. Makes it extremely difficult to get to. And I'm not going to leave it on all the time, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a power switch similar to my other pinball machines back there. And it's going to be located in the right front corner. So I'm going to whip the camera around, we'll see what we're dealing with, and we'll start working on it. As you can see, we're at the back of the machine. This is where the original power switch is. Tilt her up here. So it is in the back, in the middle. And that is very inconvenient for when you have this bumped up against a wall. Why is it like this? Well, I believe this is a plate from a television set, because these are manufactured in a factory that makes television sets. Okay, as you can see, I've got the cabinet all prepped, playfields out from the last repair, where I was working on the sound issue that cropped up. But here's my parts. I could have made this block, but I took it from a donor bottom board that I had from an old Bally, and this is just a spacer block to keep the switch up off the bottom. Why do you have to do that? If the legs are off and you've got this switch just sticking out here, it'll get damaged, or it'll damage what, if you're loading it into a car, this will scrape and this will be not good at all. So we don't want to damage this switch. So how this guy works is put her down where you want it, screw this down on top of it. I'm probably going to go in the corner here just to provide a little extra support, because this bottom board is quite thin. And run your wires up that way. So the power comes back in here on this. Grab a nut driver here. And here is where the power comes in. Of course, I've disconnected it all. You can see the cord right here. Here's the power cord. But the power cord comes in here, down to this switch. We're just going to disconnect this switch and leave it alone. And we'll run our wires up that way. And we're also going to add a grounding to the transformer. Okay, while I'm working here, I just wanted to show you the difference with the cords. There's the original cord. And while good for its time, there's nothing wrong with the two-prong cord on this. Everything's really well isolated, but this plug was pretty well deteriorated. Let's see here. Here we go. The jacket itself was in pretty good condition, but a little stiff. So probably start cracking pretty soon. We'll just get this out of here. Here's the cord that I'm going to be using. It's much longer, super flexible. It's got a really high quality 3-prong outlet on it, which is what I like to use. And it's got good quality wires in it. Now there's a lot of places that sell this type of cord. And some people they cut off the end off an extension cord, that's fine. I buy these from Pinball Resource because they're like super long and I don't have to use extension cords on my games. But Marco sells them and whatnot, in different lengths and whatnot, but I personally like this kind of cord. It's a flat 3-conductor cord. Okay, here we are. I just started on the soldering process with all these nice quality original copper wire here on this, and the original transformer wire, which is good quality wire. It's no problem at all. What I decided to do in this case, instead of use wire nuts or something like that, I twisted the wires around each other. And I've got some heat shrink here, and I'll slide it over. So the connections are soldered and solid, and if somebody yanks on this wire, even though I do have the strain relief on here, it won't pull apart. Alright, just a couple notes here as I'm going along. I found a nice wire in my stash to run down to the power switch down here that I'm going to put in. And I'm soldering it in line. Now again, you don't have to solder this, but this is what I'm choosing to do. I chose this wire because it was in a nice protective piece, which isn't necessary in this application, but it's nice to be extra careful with this stuff. And also, this is nice quality copper wire here, which is what I prefer to use. If it was like a different wire, like a silver wire, I'd probably be crimping it. But one of the things I wanted to tell you about when you're doing the heat shrink here is you gotta feel around with this and make sure there's no sharp edges. Because if there is any, when you heat shrink it, it's just gonna poke the heat shrink. So what I did to get rid of any sharp bits of wire, you just get in there with the pliers and mash it down. The project is done. Let's take a look at it here. Got my new power cord installed. Disconnected the original power switch and hooked up these two wires here. Found a nice cable conduit in my stash of used parts. And it goes down here to the power switch. Everything's all nicely heat shrunk and protected. And let's give it a try. Excellent. Make sure my sound's still working. We'll just hit the start button here. Excellent. Working good. Working good. Alright, that'll make playing this much better because I can leave it plugged in because I'll be able to just shut off the power from back here and not have to worry about it. Okay, here's what it looks like from the underside. Got plenty of room to get your finger in there. Works great. I definitely appreciate you following along, that's for sure. There we go. Game is playing good so far. The sound is good. I'm happy about that. I thought I had a bad speaker, but it was something more. Alright. Took me a while to figure it out, too. Oh, there she goes. Alright. Looking good. Ian, why don't you get over there and play with the trains? Put some cars behind the red engine or something. Have some fun, buddy. Alright, yeah. I also like these green rubbers on the bottom. Kind of match the upper ones. Now there's Williams bats on the bottom. I had to modify the bushings a little bit, trim them down. They're a little too tall. Flippers stuck up a little far, but they could probably go lower, but doesn't seem to be causing any air balls or anything, so I'm going to leave it. Alright. Ooh, nice.